Test. Lots of furniture here.
Alright guys, we're about to get underway. If you want to have a seat here at the Home Living Hub, don't be shy. You can squish in, I'm sure people can fit, if they want to fit more people. Just get to know the person next to them. Just turn around and say hi. Just turn to the person next to you. Just say hi.
There it is.
Don't be shy. Look, we're all friends. There we go. Alright, I'm just stalling, alright? I'm stalling for a minute. That's what I'm doing. That's totally fine. Guys, have you had a good day so far at the Home Show?
Clap if you've had fun today. Clap, come on, clap.
There you go. Awesome.
Excellent.
So this is Inge Jabara from Inge Jabara Landscapes. We've become friends over the last 2 years.
We have.
You're always at the Home Show.
I am.
To me. What have you been up to since I saw you last? Because last time we checked in, you just finished Reno Rubble the last season.
Oh, had I?
Yeah.
That was that long ago. Yeah. Okay, right. Yeah. So, since I've seen you last, I also did the block, so last year's block, and I did Julia and Sasha's terrace, which they called Outdoor Kitchen Week. They had all that. Anyway, it was a bit confusing. So, filmed that, had a great time on the show again. That's my couple of blocks into it now, so I keep on going back for more torture.
Nice.
And then just building multiple constructions every month, so gangbusters.
Who doesn't know of Inge? You've met?
Good.
That's
right.
If you haven't, Lady Tradie as well. Just like, I'm very impressed by that. Lady Tradie.
I'm just going to move this back because I'm going to stand on it and I walk around.
Option on.
That's all right. We'll go there.
Is it safe?
Yep.
It's hanging.
It's hanging.
It's hanging. Leave it.
Okay.
It's not going to break.
Excellent.
Right,
Good. There we go. I've got some room to move now.
Excellent. Running your own business, Inge Jabara Landscape. You've got a whole bunch of employees. You also are a Lady Tradie.
I am. Yeah, I'm wearing the heels today, but yes, I am a landscaper by trade and with a HIA membership as well. So it's a very exciting gig.
Awesome. So guys, as I put your hand up during the session, I'll bring the mic around if you have questions, but let Inge take over.
Excellent. Okay.
All right. We're live on Facebook and
that's
YouTube
right.
too, so we'll say hi to them. If there's any questions, we'll get to you guys later.
Excellent. Right. And I'll do a shout out a little bit later on as well. Okay, well, thank you very much, Justine, and thank you all for coming around. It's so busy here today, and literally, I think, did anyone get stuck in the really bad traffic in the car park downstairs? Yep, I'm seeing a few people. All right, so as we talked about before, my name is Inge Jabara, and I am Inge Jabara Landscapes. You can follow me on social media, and you can have a look at all the fantastic designs and constructions we do, and you'll get heaps of extra garden tips. So if you miss a few things today, lots of it goes up on Instagram and Facebook as well. So having a look, I know for some of you maybe over here, can't see, but I'll try and do my best and explain. So DIY designer landscapes and for the home renovator. This is what we're talking about today. If you at home want to improve your garden, I'm going to give you some really easy tips to be able to improve your garden's look and feel just by a few little tips and tricks that I've given you, obviously. Now, the first thing I like to talk about is lawns. And a lot of people go, oh, the lawn, you know, I'm out there every weekend, I'm mowing it and I can't be bothered, I want the synthetic turf and, you know, and all the rest of it. But one of the things I wanted to start off with was a lot of people say to me, Inge, should I get synthetic lawn or should I get real lawn? And I say, get real lawn if you can. There are a couple of reasons why. Real lawn is actually it's less expensive to install, and synthetic lawn is more expensive to install. And the second thing is, in terms of capitalising on your investment, a lot of the homeowners out there actually want to buy a garden with a bit of real lawn. And it's a sort of an inanimate thing, you know, they want to be able to, it's the Aussie dream, to be able to come home and have a bit of lawn space in the backyard. So don't do away with the lawn. The one thing I just want to say on the monitor for everyone who can see is even just by, on the left-hand side of the screen here, I've just got a little bit of garden in the middle, and I've just got a little slither of lawn around the outside of that garden design. You can see it a little bit later. And the reason why I've done that is because lawn is so important, and this, in this particular space, there wasn't much room with that particular garden. And so for that client to have a little bit of lawn on the inside of his courtyard, it was a lot more advantageous. And the feeling, he said to me, look, I don't want to have this as a full lawn space, but I want to be able to sort of walk on it. So don't do away with the real lawn if you can. Now on the monitor there, I've got a tall fescue lawn. Tall fescue lawn is ideal for any of you who have more of a formal looking home, a French provincial, a modern style, what's it called? A modern style rendered project. I'm just going to have a sip of water. And in terms of anyone out there that has like a weatherboard, or you have a beach house property, you have lots of kids or a dog, Sir Walter Buffalo is the lawn for you, or any kind of buffalo lawn in general. But again, as I said before, just driving that point home, I'm telling everyone here today, if you can get real lawn versus synthetic lawn, definitely do that. Now, for those of you that, I'm sorry, I'm banging on about lawns a bit, but for those of you that actually want a synthetic lawn, the one thing I suggest to you is make sure you get a larger pile. That's the height at which, when you lay it, it sits off the ground. Don't get something really short, it ends up looking like a really cheap golf course. But if you get a really tall pile, it looks nice and luscious. And when you go to the manufacturer or the supplier, run your hands through it, and if you can get your fingers through it, sort of like that, that's a really good, that's sort of one of the tests that I do. If I run my hands on it and it's like a carpet, it's not very good. And the other thing to look for inside synthetic lawn is make sure it's got the brown flecks through it. Like it's got green, a little bit of brown, a little bit of darker colour through it. So it's got multiple colours through the actual, what's called pile itself, okay? And the reason being is it looks real. So if you get a synthetic lawn that's all the one colour, it looks really fake. So if you are going to go the synthetic product, I don't have anything against it. Just make sure you get something that looks luscious and real, okay? Moving on. Has anyone got that ugly rendered retaining wall that's just right in front of your eyes? Yep, there we go at the back, good. We've got a taker. That ugly rendered wall that you're always looking at, generally they're down the sides of the house and the kitchen window's looking out at it, or the bathroom window, or the kid's bedroom, and you're like, oh, it's just the kid's bedroom. Doesn't matter about that one. Or it's the bathroom, and the dog's looking out of it or something like that. Using plants that are hardy, and I'll give you some names in a minute, but using some hardy cascading plants to run down the front of the wall will just easily green that up. And you don't have to have a really deep bed. So you know how you might only have that bed to be only that wide, right? Really thin, so it's only about half a metre to a metre wide. So you'll have a bit of room in that garden bed to put a nice tall hedge, but the front of the garden bed you just use with a nice cascading plant to cover that wall. And I've got some, so on the left-hand side, that's an acacia. And the acacia is a really good one, or actually, the acacia is a really good one that is a cascading one. So just go to your local nursery and ask for the cascading acacia that Inge told me about. So it's got a really nice dark green. So have a look at the colours as well. But on the other side of the monitor, you can see how I've paired up dark green and light green. So that's called a Dichondra Silver Falls. That's the one that's the grey one just there. Can everyone sort of see that? And that Dichondra Silver Falls looks really good on really light and bright. So if you've got the weatherboard or you've got the light colours, the polished concrete floors. Anyone here have polished concrete on the interior floorboards? Floors, not boards. Having that particular silvery foliage plant looks really nice and quite beautiful when you're looking out of the house. So think about the colour scheme. Are you putting in a cascading plant that's dark green, or are you going to look at something that's a little bit lighter? Or is it, what kind of colours is it going to have in? And we'll get to colours and selections of plants in a minute. Did a personal training session this morning and I must have boxed too hard, so I'm so thirsty. Sorry. So moving along to trees. So just to recap for 2 seconds, lawns, really important. And if you've got that ugly rendered wall, make sure you cover that. So just adding in that little extra layer of planting is unnecessary, okay? On the monitor at the moment, I have 2 trees. I have a Crape Myrtle on the left-hand side, this side of the monitor. Is that right? Left-hand side, yep. I feel like a flight attendant. On the right-hand side of the monitor, I have a Magnolia grandiflora, or just a Magnolia teddy bear is another preference. I'll get to teddy bear in a minute. It's on my hit list. On that side of the monitor, we've got the Crape Myrtle, as I said. Now, that's a deciduous tree. so it loses its leaves in the wintertime, and it has a beautiful white flower during the summertime. Actually, the Crape Myrtle's just finished flowering only about a month ago. So it flowers all the way through summer, which is excellent, but it's deciduous. So when you're thinking about adding a tree into a nice centre point of your garden, or you want to, if this is my garden area in the audience today and I have a small backyard, and this is the back of my house here, I'd want to put the tree sort of in the middle of the aisle there towards the back, and in the middle of this row here towards the back as well. Because it's a lot bigger, we don't want to have it growing too close to the house, because when it loses its leaves, it fills up the gutters. So we put it down the very back, and we'll put a nice uplight that as well, but I'll get to that in a sec. Now that Crape Myrtle has a beautiful bark. So when it's lost all of its leaves, it looks beautiful when it's out of season, or we call out of season. And the reason I said uplight down the back, if I'm going to put that Crape Myrtle in between this row here and in between that row there towards the back, having a beautiful uplight up it means that you can see that beautiful bark when it's sort of dusk and you've got friends over for a barbecue. Stunning. Does anyone here have an established tree in their backyard already? Raise your hands, don't be shy, we're all friendly here. Excellent. Pop an uplight up that existing tree if it still looks good. So if it's half dead, you've got a permit out from council at the moment to remove that tree, don't put an uplight at it, don't spend the money on it now. Remove the tree, put a new one in, then uplight it. But make sure it's got a really nice canopy. So how I would suggest you do that, if you know what the tree is, find out what the tree is called, pop it into Google, and it will actually come up a little shape of what the tree is meant to look like. So just see that the shape itself, so when you look back and you go, oh, it's that shape, and when you look at it, it's got half of its canopy missing, you go, oh, that's what Inge's talking about, it's not really the right shape. Check that it's the right shape, up like that. Okay? Hope that made sense. Anyway, on the right-hand side, we have the magnolia. So now I was talking about teddy bear before. A lot of people, does anyone know what a magnolia teddy bear is? Has anyone heard that one? It's very common in the horticultural industry today. It's a popular seller because it has such a cutesy name. Popping in a magnolia teddy bear, I'd probably suggest anyone here with rental properties, that's a really good one to pop in because it's a smaller grower. For those of you that live at home and you want something to sort of block out that ugly neighbour in the corner there, don't worry, you're not an ugly neighbour. Popping that one in the corner is, because it won't get past the fence height, I wouldn't suggest it. But going with a grandiflora, so Magnolia grandiflora, or any of the other ranges of magnolias, you'll get a lot more height out of them. Okay, so that's what I'm sort of getting at. The Crape Myrtle over here, we're only going to get to about 2 to 3 metres tall in the garden. So the feature tree. And the magnolia, you're going to get a good 5 to 6, sometimes even 7 metres out of them. So that's another thing for you guys at home today, another tip. Pop the trees' names into Google, and they say don't Dr. Google. You can totally Dr. Google trees or plants in general, because there's lots of good information on Google. But pop it into Google and find out how tall it grows. You know, is it going to block out the sun? Is it going to block out, is it going to completely cover the top of my house? You know, think about what you're actually putting in there and the size. It looks great on the market stand, but think about in 10 years' time what that's going to look like in your garden. Okay? So just recap, Crape Myrtle on the left and a Magnolia grandiflora on the right-hand side of the monitor. And they're my two preferences for trees. Okay? In terms of planting in general, and again, these are little, you know, for those of you who just joined us at the back there, these are tips for designer gardens, but if you're renovating yourself, these are little tips that you can add into your garden, tips that you can add and add value to your home as well, you know, little things that you can do at home. So I don't know if anyone's got that really ugly garden bed at the front of their house. It's usually between a pathway and a driveway. I've actually got about 3 clients that had that. It's quite a common one that developers install this like little strip in the middle, and then they install a plant in there that dies after 6 months after you moved in. So if anyone here has that sort of ugly garden bed, and it doesn't have to be between the pathway and the driveway, it can just be like that strip at the front or down the driveway. You know, the plants never did very well. You know, just a little spot in your garden that you're just like, God, I just don't know what to put there. Well, I'm here to tell you. Liriope muscari, hopefully you can write that one down. A liriope, box hedges, popping things in like what's this one here? Pachysandra. I won't try and spell that one, that's a really long one. But consider low to the ground plants. The smaller the bed, the less room for root systems you have. So that's when you want to go like with a smaller plant. So if you've got a garden bed that's quite a thin, narrow strip, go to the nursery and select a plant that's low growing and it's width-wise as well as low growing. Okay, rosemary, sensational grower in really tiny garden beds, and you can clip it into a hedge. Lovely. Now, if that really awkward garden bed that I'm talking about is like this big, everyone knows what I'm talking about, that little slender bit. If that little garden bed is up against a driveway, up against a fence, you know, pop that rosemary along the hedge line there and pop a nice climber behind it. Then go to Bunnings. I'm just getting a little bit wayward here, but go to Bunnings and grab a nice trellis, pop it on the wall there and pop a really nice climber up it to get some greenery happening on that wall. Really good tip for trellises. Don't buy the lattice. Does everyone know what lattice is? The tip of the lattice. Don't buy that. Just buy trench mesh that you put in concreting. Just a trench mesh frame. You can actually get them and they're 1 metre high by I think 1200 or 900 wide. So yay, buy yay, buy yay. And you can pop that on the wall there, pop that straight on the fence line, grow a really nice climber up it, and hey presto, you've got an instant green wall. So I'm sort of driving that point home, but that awkward garden bed that I'm talking about, just keep the plants low and just have it as a really nice clean space between your pathway and your driveway. Another point there, see how there's a lawn in that photo, everybody? See how there's a lawn? I've kept the lawn in the front garden because I still think that you can... So thirsty. Sorry, boxing. I still think that you should keep lawns in your front garden, but only on one condition. That you have a front garden that's a minimum of 10 metres in depth. So that's about from here to Sam over there, who's going to wave his hand. Thank you, Sam. From here to Sam, I'd say if you've got a garden about from me to him, then you can put a little square of lawn out the front garden with a nice tree in it and a nice uplight, some nice hedges along the front there and down the side, maybe even a couple of magnolias along the fence line there, just to screen out that neighbour that you don't like. And then maybe even over this side, if we've got our driveway, you guys are my driveway, sorry, fence line and a really nice climber on that fence line just to screen off that as well. So the reason I'm saying that is if you've got less than 10 metres, I wouldn't suggest, I've run out of, I wouldn't suggest, this happened to be last show, so I'm going to scream until Justine gets back with the microphone.
Just pass up microphones.
I actually think that happened this time last year, so it must be this show. Anyway, what was I saying? Right, if you've got a garden that's less than 10 metres long, do away with the lawn entirely and fill up the entire garden with plants. So you have your front walkway to your front of your house, and you're my front door now, Sam. You've got garden bed to the right, garden bed to the left, all planting. Because you don't have enough room and it's silly to buy a mower and store it, that storage factor, for just literally 1 to 3 square metres of lawn, not worth it. But in the back garden, keep lawns. If you can keep the lawn in the back garden, please do so. On the right-hand side of the monitor there, I just wanted to show you a quick trick. So for those of you that have balcony gardens or small, you know, like a 3 square metre deck or a very small little courtyard, height is paramount. So it's not, if you've got a very small courtyard, so like just literally to the middle of this area here, or a small balcony, as I was just saying, it's not worth getting a small plant and a small pot plant and put it in the corner. Because when people come over, they can't actually see it. They go, oh, really nice view. Oh, I just tripped over one of your plants here. Oh, sorry, you know what I mean? It's not anything small. Get something big, 2 of or 1 of, and put a nice tall citrus or a nice tall tree in it. Ask your local nursery, say like, of what your conditions are, so it might be undercover. There are plants that you can put in that are tall that will go undercover as long as you water them. But 1 metre, and generally the rule of thumb is 1 step, a tree or a hedge, another step, another step, another step, and hey presto, that's your hedges. I have seen it before, ladies and gentlemen, where people install hedges and it's 1, 2, 3, lucky 4, and I go just a few more, you'll get instant thickness. But if you install them too far apart, they won't obviously grow together, so you won't get that instant screening. Okay. With hedges, the rule of thumb is always hedge the front of them and the back of them and the sides when they're growing to get the height out of them. Don't hedge the top. Again, I've had it before. People say to me, oh, Inge, my hedge is not growing. I'm like, do you hedge the top? Yeah, I hedge the top. I just want to get it bushy. I'm like, no, just let it grow up. Just hedge around the outside of it and let the top grow up. But when it gets to the height that you want, then keep it at the height you want. Because we all know what a hedge is like when it gets completely out of control and you don't maintain it. Once every 6 months, that's all you need to remember. That's how often you need to do your hedge work. Once every 6 months. A lot of people tend to think of hedges as very high maintenance. Generally not, as long as you have them maintained or hedged every 6 months and they stay in check. Okay? On the right hand side, that side, I've got a really nice Murraya. So Murraya pedunculata, or Murraya, M-A-R-R-A-Y-A. Murraya pedunculata, it's the taller hedge of the two there, and the step down there is a box hedge border. Now Murrayas are really fantastic hedges for a medium-sized hedge. So the ficus on the left was a really good one to screen out those neighbours, so that one will get to about 10 metres tall if you let it. And the Murraya itself will probably get to the top of your fence line. Just in New South Wales, it will definitely get to the top of the fence line. But for Victoria, and all the people here at Facebook, for Victoria, generally the middle of the fence is where that one's going to get to. Now I've put that Murraya with the box hedge because if you've got something that's about this high, you want to have another tier in front of you. So everyone saw back here, see how there's layering? See how we've got low plants, medium plants, and then over there there's sort of undulating heights, and then there's a tree. So always think about layering. If you install just the hedges along the back and there, and then one feature tree, it tends to look a bit boring. So just add in one more plant and put something low in front of those hedges, and everything will look a lot better in terms of scale, and it won't look like it won't look clinical, yeah? So try and think about your layering. So that's why I've got that photo with the Murraya and the box hedges. How are we going for time, Justine, when she heads back? When she gets back. Okay, I think we're going okay. All right, so I've sort of finished, gone over my plants of choice. Now I want to talk to you about decking and lighting. There are 3 things that we use in the landscape, and I use every single time. The camera doesn't focus on the roof, but I'll tell you about the roof in a minute anyway. Is timber, stone, water, or greenery. So you have to have greenery, obviously, but water is sort of an optional extra, I like to refer to it as. Having decking in the garden is, or some sort of timber. Now you might not have enough room for a deck. Having a timber seat is another way of doing it. Having timber is really crucial, and think about the colour. The general rule of thumb is the colour of your floorboards is going to be the colour of what your deck should be in design. So if anyone here today is thinking about building a deck, have a look at your floorboards or the carpet or the tile colour on the inside of your house, and then try to find a decking material, either real or synthetic. There's some great products out there from Trex Decking that do some fantastic synthetic timbers, and you can get a great colour range as well. So I sort of have that juxtaposition there. On the right hand side, see how you can see a very light timber deck? So that's a teak that's been left to go white over time, or grey, and we haven't put any oiling or stain on it. don't stain decks. I'll get to that later. That might be for another show. But on the left-hand side is a spotted gum. Gone are the days where we use Merbau. I'm sorry, everyone. Or Jara. Sorry if anyone's installing that at the moment. But spotted gum is a sustainable hardwood, and B, it's a very good product because it has a beautiful colour. It's not too red and it's not too brown. It's a really nice auburny colour, and it looks lovely against the, your nice oaky floorboards or your sort of standard floorboard. I'll get to lighting in a minute, but just by having, no, I won't say that. By having level change in your deck as well. So if you've got a flat garden, so this is all my garden, having just that one step down from the kitchen area down to the back garden is actually quite a nice feel. So if you can get one step somewhere in the garden, I'd suggest that. If you have retaining walls, it's okay, you've already ticked the box, because having the walls means that the garden is a bit higher or the greenery is higher. But just having a bit of that level change so that your eye sort of goes up or up towards the back of the house. Does that sort of make sense? So that's sort of why I have the steps in that image there. I said about decking. I had a feature, I sort of wanted to talk about lighting, but I'm waiting for Justine to get back to tell me how long I'm going. I tend to talk a leg off a chair for a little bit. On the left-hand side, I have a olive tree with an uplight up it. Remember how I talked about having a feature tree with an uplight? Uplights are really important, and lighting is very important in the garden. So many people say to me, Inge, what kind of lighting do I use in the garden these days? Halogen, gone, dead. See you later. LED lighting, the technology is there and it's durable. You can get some really durable products. When you go to buy outdoor lighting, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you ask your supplier, is it non-corrosive? Non-corrosive? Is it UV protected? And is it how long are you going to warrant this product for? Generally, if the product is not warranted for, if it's 12 months, it's going to break and you're going to replace it in 12 months, because that's their way of saying it gonna break. On the other side of the thing, you can get products out there that are warranted for 10 to sometimes even 15 years. You'll spend a little bit more money, but I would strongly suggest you do that because garden lights can be quite expensive. So spend the money on that particular part and good quality products. And you can save money by getting smaller plants to begin with. So you know, smaller plants to begin with. And let them grow, but don't skimp on the trees. Always buy a tree and install it at minimum 1 metre to 2 metres tall, just FYI, because the trees, sorry I'm jumping, but the trees take a lot longer to grow than the actual plants themselves. So by getting 10 minutes, excellent. Are we over already? No, we've got 10 minutes? I'm doing well. Okay, good. But I was totally at the end. Excellent, thanks Justine. So in terms of, so trees take a lot longer to grow taller. So get them taller to begin with and get smaller plants. That's how you save money, ladies and gentlemen, when you're DIYing. Back to my garden lighting. That was just proving that point about the uplight. See how that olive tree just looks beautiful and looks stunning. And we've just got that little bit of texture and tone underneath. So just got a little bit of plant and a little bit of rock because it's a very small garden bed. But see how Bruce sort of drives that point home about if you have a small courtyard, having a tall very quickly is a good thing because it means that the greenery is right in front of you. Excellent. Had a sip of water. Okay, on the right hand side, I just got a little bit funky with some concrete. Polished concrete, you know how everyone's, and they love it on the block, you know how polished concrete bench tops, does everyone know what polished concrete is? Yeah? Polished concrete bench tops, polished concrete floors, polished concrete baths. We're seeing it everywhere. I'm yet to see a polished concrete toilet, but I know it's only a matter of time. Hopefully that's not on the block this season. I'll scream. On the right hand side is just polished concrete steps. Polished concrete is a big fad in the landscape sector nowadays. Having sort of a polished concrete patio, steps, benches, barbecue bench tops, outdoor al fresco bench tops in polished concrete. Yes, it's very costly. Make sure if you get 3 quotes, And always get 3 quotes, ladies and gentlemen, from your contractors to do work. 3 quotes. Pick the middle one. You don't have to necessarily go the most expensive, but don't go the cheapest. Polished concrete can be a costly mistake if you install it incorrectly, and it will be done wrong, and you'll have dents and bumps, and you'll have all kinds of different mess and mumble. So make sure you actually get the proper contractors in that you know are reputable, you've checked their references, you've seen the work that they've done, and if you've tried to touch it and you felt it, that's a good contractor to go with because you know it's going to be good quality. I have seen some stuff up jobs where I've come onto jobs that clients are crying, you know, and I've gone on there and they're saying, please fix my polished concrete bench top. And I said, where did you get this done? It's got dips and everything in it. So then they have to pay a little bit of money to try and get that fully resurfaced. So it can be a very costly mistake. Is it slippery? No. You can have polished concrete around pools. But the only thing is, again, it just comes down to the trade and their qualifications / experience in terms of installing it, because the blade that they use to polish it, they use a different type of blade to make it a bit rougher and coarser. You still can walk on it and it's fine, but it means that it's non-slip, okay, or it passes a certain slip factor test rating. And just because I'm giving you super, super duper amounts of information here, so I know everyone's about to explode, but can we put outdoor stone around pools? That question comes up a lot, so blue stone around pools. Yes, you can. Just make sure when you select a tile around your pool or your outdoor area that you check its slip factor test rating. And you just say to your supplier, you just say, Inge told me to ask you what the slip factor test rating is for the outdoors. And they'll go, oh, no, don't put it outdoor, because sometimes you don't stipulate where it's going. Anyway, just check that it complies. We actually pulled that up on the block this year. I marched into the tile store and I said, Julia and Sasha wanted to use the polished stone. I don't know if anyone remembers that, the polished dark stone. And they're like, oh no, we want to use this. We want to have everything dark. And I said, no. It's that is not going to be slip compliant, and we're going to have a huge heyday, and someone's going to go out and break their neck. And they wanted it, and I said no, and I put my foot, and that was that fight on TV. But no, those girls were good girls, and they bended in the end. So I know they're beautiful girls. So on the right hand side, getting back to the polished concrete, just by having a little LED strip light underneath that step, it looks very beautiful. And you can see where you're going at night time. You know, Aussie backyard, the sun goes down, we're still out there having a couple of shardies or wherever we are, bubbly water. And let's face it, everyone's tripped and fallen back into the house after a couple. So having that just little LED strip light is a good safety thing, but also it looks good. And you undermount it, so it means that when you look, if you're looking at the step, it means that it's hidden up inside the stone as opposed to stuck at the bottom. You don't want to be able to feel it or have it drop down and be able to see it. And that's just having that point again with decking, under-mounted LED strip lighting. Makes sense? Come on, Mr. Monitor. I'm almost finished. Next one. There we go. Driving the point home, I'm almost wrapping up, but driving the point home here about polished concrete and having just a nice little insert for planting, just getting a little bit more planting in here. See how you can see screening trees just all the way around the outside. Again, fence height. Ladies and gentlemen, try very hard to cover your fences. You don't want to see fences, and especially if you've got trees from the next door neighbour. By hiding the fence, you then see the trees next door and it looks like it's part of your garden. It's called borrowed landscape, hashtag. On the right hand side we have a really nice step up, very tiny courtyard, but a couple of steps up to nowhere. But it looks great because it's to nowhere. The point of my story, it's Saturday, we're having a bit of fun. The point I'm trying to make there is, like I said before, have level change, okay? So just having a couple of steps up, people go, oh yeah, I'll totally go read my paper over here. And it also means, because it's only about 6 meters between the back of the house and the back of the garden is sitting up very high, which means that the greenery is visible when you're sitting on the couch low down and you can still see the greenery, yeah? So think about how high your planting is, especially along the back boundary, okay? Now, what have we got next? Slow motion. Come on, let's go. Next one. There we, oh, hang on. Going too fast? No. I'd like to go back. No, go to the next one. Yep, no, we're right. That was that image from the first slide that I said, just with that lawn around the outside. Sculptures. My last point for today, everybody, is try and include a sculpture or some sort of garden art in the garden. And for those of you on Facebook, if you want to pop in any questions, because we are streaming live today, ladies and gentlemen, to Facebook and YouTube, if you pop your comments on the bottom there and click like, then we will be able to answer those questions if they've come up. So we'd love to see the questions from our Facebook and YouTube followers for the home show, the Melbourne home show. There we go. Okay, now I've got a really great offer for everybody here today. I've been known to give out a really good deal at a home show, and don't swamp us at the end. But we are offering our $3.5 grand package, which is a monster package with 3D imaging of your new garden, full landscape design, and it's fit for DIYers, ladies and gentlemen. So it'll tell you all the bits and bobs you need to install. It'll give you all the information to then take to your subcontractors to build from. It's a great package, as I said, for DIY landscape. It only covers properties up to 750 square metres, so your front and back garden, if you're on a 750 square metre block. And the other great thing, and the one final thing, is it's a total savings of over $1,000, which is excellent. And the second part is, if you come and see myself and Sam, and when you're signing up, there's a lovely little box that says 10% off if you speak to me today. So make sure you come and have a chat to me after to find out a little bit more information about how to get such a fantastic DIY package for an amazing price. And you get the garden designed by me, which is excellent. Now, finishing up today, if my little thingy would work. There we go. No? There? Yep. There we go. Again, as I said, you can follow me on social media on Instagram. And you can find out about some fun little garden tips. But thank you, everyone, for coming and listening to me today. And for Facebook and YouTube, make sure you put those comments up. Thank you, everyone.
Guys, Inge, does anyone have any questions before we run away?
Yes, questions.
3 questions.
Yes.
And if anyone is
some water.
interested, Sam's here. He's going to be in that where the hanging chairs are. He's going to be over there with all Inge's paperwork.
Actually, can we pop, Justine, can we pop Sam over there? Sam's going to go over there. Is that okay?
Yeah. No,
is that okay?
They're going to clear it for the next one.
Oh, are they? Yeah, okay. Then over there's great.
Question, sir.
Yep. Now, yucca's good in a garden.
Yes. Sorry, what was that?
Yucca's good in a garden.
They're a bit out of date. I'd say steer away from them. What do you want to use it for in terms of?
Just generally landscape.
Yeah. Generally plant them with other plants and soft grasses, because they are very sharp looking. So if you can plant them with some soft grasses, that would look good. Don't do the rocks and then the yucca thing. Okay? He was going to do that. Excellent.
No? All right. So guys, over here. Yeah.
You can come and see me oh yeah, cool.
What about silver birch?
Silver birches are, great question. Silver birches are totally back in fashion. The drought killed most of them in Melbourne, and there's still a few really old species left. Make sure you water them very, very well for the first 3 summers of its life. Very well watered first 3 summers, and it'll last every drought after that. I guarantee it.
Too easy.
Okay.
All right.
If you want to chat to me after, you can come and stand over there. I'll be
And we'll
answering
come
my
and check
questions.
out the Facebook and YouTube questions.
Oh,
And you guys
yeah.
can have a convo, postpartum. That's what happens.
Excellent.
Crazy.
Thanks,
All right,
Justine.
Thank you so much. Sam and Inge will be over there answering your questions. And coming up,
Thanks.
we're gonna